Going on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. About to be watching here in a second. In a minute or two, we'll Let's clap it up for the Most High in Christ. We are at Isupk out of 1 West 125th Street out of Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. We teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to the Bible, history, archaeology, and anything else you may need. Tonight's class is the law class, and today we will continue in the book of Macabees. So we lately, especially before the holiday season, we've been going heavy into the book of Macabees and learning exactly what how we essentially got to this point, how we got to the point of no Jew, no Greek, no Jew, no Gentile, all people, all nations, and got scattered to the four corners of the earth, and exactly what was the purpose of the ministry of Christ, Paul, the apostles, and so forth. So we're going to continue in Maccabees because today we're going to be going into Maccabees chapter 8. And what we're going to learn is even the mighty brother, Judas Maccabees, even to a certain extent, he tried to join himself to the heathen. It hurts my soul to even say it. Those words don't even sound right. Let me drink some water. That doesn't even feel right. But after years of warring, fighting violently for his people, even he got to a point to where maybe it's not that bad, Maybe, we can, maybe we can have peace with these heathens that's ruling over us. And unfortunately, that's just not the truth. That it doesn't work because we always end up on the bottom. You understand? This is why Christ said this. What did Christ say? Matthew chapter 24. You understand? Matthew 24 and what's this? 13. But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. You understand? When you battling, you understand whether it's with your demons, with religion, with whatever you battling against. In his case, it would be these nations. You have to endure to the end. You can fight glorious and valiantly for all your life but 2 years. But if you give up in them last 2 years, you didn't win. And the only way we gonna win as a people is if we keep fighting. We got to fight the righteous fight, the good fight. What is that? To not only just obey the law, statutes, commandments, you understand, under the Most High in Christ, coming back to who we are as a people, but we got to be one as a people. We got to come back to brotherhood, sisterhood, being one as a nation, being under a righteous rulership. We got to do all those things. And we have to endure it until the end. A lot of the things that we're going through is because we want to join the heathen. What do I mean? Heartache, pain, whether it's relationships, religion, whatever it is, we want to do it according to the heathen, according to the nation that has conquered us. We don't want to do it according to our God. We want to do it according to how the nation taught us that conquered us. And this is why we fail so often. This is why we get stressed so often. This is why we have heartbreaks so often. Because in all the turmoil and all the stress and everything that we go through, we don't seek the truth in the way and wisdom of God. We go with how we feel or what's popular or the agenda. And as long as we go according to that, we're going to fail every time, y'all. So let's get into it. First Maccabees. Salakia. First Maccabees. First Maccabees chapter 8. Of course, if anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the chat. All questions, all comments are welcome. We're not scary around here. All right. So First Maccabees chapter 8, it reads, now Judas had heard of the Romans. So now we're getting into the Romans. remember recently, just to give you a brief update, Judas had been battling against the Grecians, the Greeks. And you understand, he'd been winning war after war, going at them. You understand, having the king, their king, he was in all type of turmoil. You understand, because he could not figure out how to defeat Judas. Judas was that bad of a brother. He was that good at war. You understand? So now the Grecians or the Greeks are being conquered by the Romans. So now the Romans come into play. The same Romans that eventually Christ would be under their rulership, meaning when Christ was born, these are the same people that were in rulership when Christ was born. So this is to remember, we came here to tie it all in, right? And now you're starting to see how it's going to tie all in. Now Judas had heard of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men, and such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them, and make a league of amity with all that came unto them. That should sound familiar to Judas. See, that should sound very familiar to Judas. And this is where Judas forgot first. Before we even go to why that sounds familiar, we got to go to why Judas should have known this was something he should not have done. So let's go to these scriptures. Let's go to the book of Psalms. We'll go to book of Psalms 55 and 20. 55 and 20. Psalms 55 and 20 for anyone following along. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. So that's where we're starting off right here in the context of things. And you got to understand, it's about to go into who does that. You understand? We're about to go into what type of people break the break the covenant with the people that are at peace with them. Watch this. Verse 21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. See, we just read where Judas heard about how the Romans, they wanted to be at peace with all people that wanted to be one with them, that wanted to make amity with them, that wanted to join unto him. But see, Judas should have remembered Psalms 55. Judas knew Psalms 55. But in the mix of life, when life is stressful or you're going through things or turmoil and things like that, you forget the simple things. And you're just looking for a peaceful way out. Well, you got to endure to the end. Like, that's why Christ said that. You understand? Because Judas, for all the work he did he endure to the end? Well, he made league with the nation that hated him. But the only reason he made league with them was because their words were smoother than butter. See, they weren't like the Greeks where they were saying, you must do this, you must do that. They was just like, hey, man, everything cool. You know what I'm saying? We can be one, man. Everything will be all good, man. It ain't got to be all that, this, that, and the third. But we know that was a lie. Why? Because when Christ got on the scene, those same people that was in power, those same Romans, they wanted to unalive every boy that was born in Judah Macabees nation, for every Jew. That's what they were trying to do when they were trying to unalive Christ. That was a law that those same Romans put out. So obviously, joining them was not the move. You understand? Their words were smooth as butter. Let's keep reading. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. See? That's what the Romans, that's what they were about. Yeah, we're going to be peace with you. You don't harm us. We don't harm you. You got a problem with somebody, we there for you. We got a problem, you there with us. We all one. But somehow, some way, when Christ come on the scene, they trying to unalive every male-born child that's born. So how we go from what we're about to read in this amity and us being one with them to now you trying to unalive every male child of our nation. And I'm telling you, this is how right here. This is how right here. Psalms 55. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. You understand? And that's exactly what it was. But unfortunately, our forefather Judah Maccabees, he couldn't see that. Why? Because he had been warring for practically, who knows, the last 10, 20 years or so. He just wanted to be at peace. Well, we're about to read about it. Let's get into it. So, First Maccabees chapter 8, verse 2. Again, if anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to put it in the chat. All right. First Maccabees chapter 8, verse 2. In that they were men of great valor, and it was told him also of their wars and noble acts which they had done among the Galatians. See? Where do we read about the Galatians at? We read about the Galatians, don't we? Where? In the New Testament. Because the Apocrypha is what you need to make everything make sense from the Old to the New Testament. You understand? So when we talk about this is why Paul was going to these places. Why? Because we had brothers and sisters in these places. We were conquered by the Romans. And this was the beginning of that conquering. It wasn't like they had to come in strong arm us. We gladly went under the authority of Judah Maccabees. We gladly went. We gladly went to be one with them under the authority of a mighty man named Judah Maccabees. You understand? And the glorious thing about this is you got to understand, all because this brother made this mistake doesn't mean we don't honor what he did, because guess what? Christ honored what he did. Christ kept the feast of dedication. You can find that in John chapter 10, verse 22, where Christ went into the temple to keep the feast of dedication. That comes from Judah Maccabees. But did he mess up right here? Yeah. Like Christ was living in the mistake of Judah Maccabees while honoring him by keeping the feast of dedication. That's the same spirit we need to keep in our nation. Yes, a lot of our, OGs and, grandfathers, grandmamas, and aunts and uncles, they done made mistakes. But you know how we honor them? By not only uplifting them, but we uplift them by keeping the standard that God set forth. So even though they may have fell short, we going to stand even stronger. We're going to show them that it can be done and it will be done. That's what we are called to do. And we got to stand on that. Yes, it will get hard. Yes, it will feel impossible at times. But I guarantee you it's not. I guarantee you it's not. You know how I know it's not? You know how I know it's not impossible? Of course, because the Bible tells me so. But let me go ahead and tell you where the Bible tells me. So let's go to the, what do I want? I might have asked me too fast. Let me see. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. Is that what I want? Yeah. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. This is how I know it's not impossible. We can do this thing. It might get hard, it might get tough, but we can persevere through. We can endure until the end. We don't have to join these other nations. We don't have to be lessened for the agenda of America. We can stand strong on the standard of God. And we can do that as a people, as a nation, as brothers and sisters, and watch how we overcome this nation. And this is how I know. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. There have no temptation taking you, but such as is common to man. Do you understand what that's telling us? That means I don't care what you're going through. I know you feel like you're the only person that had it this bad. I know you feel like when you went through this, oh, this is something nobody ever went through this. You know what? You just don't understand what I'm going through. You just don't get it. How could you? Well, I'm going to tell you how I know. Because God said there is no temptation taking you, but such as is common to man. Meaning what he's putting you through, he's put other brothers and sisters through before. He's not putting you through anything he has not put any of his other beloved children through. You understand? It's common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able. Meaning if you're going through it, I promise you can get through it. and get through it righteously. You can. But you know what? You have to stay faithful to God. God is faithful. He will bring you through it, but you have to stay faithful to God. And that's where we fall short at. You understand? God is letting us know right here, man, I'll get you through that. I ain't worried about that. Yeah, it's tough. For what you can see, it feels impossible. I get that. But I'm telling you right now, if you stay the course, endure to the end, you will get through on the other side. He's letting us know before we even go through it. He's telling us right here. It's like this verse right here is almost like reading the future. You want to know if you can get through that next stressful situation, that next struggle, that next dilemma? You read 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. It'll tell you, but God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. You can bear it, meaning you can endure it. You can withstand it. But you got to be faithful to God too, man. You got to be faithful to what he says and not what your religion says. You have to be faithful to the truth. And that's where, of course, a lot of us fall short. So, yes, Judah Maccabees could have got through it. We can get through it. We will get through it, as long as we adhere to the Most High. So, verse 2, in that they were men of great valor, it was told him also of their wars and noble acts, which they had done among the Galatians, and how they had conquered them and brought them under tribute, and what they had done in the country of Spain for the winning of the mines of the silver and gold, which is there. So this should have told, like when Judas heard this, he should not have got excited about joining them. This should have been his warning to say, you know what? We might have to go to war again. But between reading Psalms 55, understanding that they had a slick tongue, but war was in their heart. And then reading, well, of course, and that's the unfortunate part, he didn't have a 1 Corinthians like we got a 1 Corinthians. But he understood the spirit of 1 Corinthians. And you know how we know he understood the spirit of 1 Corinthians? Because when it came to the Greeks, he lived in the spirit of that 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. Like, there were so many times where he was battling the Greeks, and all the brothers with him was looking and saying, man, we might want to flee. We might not want to do this. And he would always remind them brothers of how I'm paraphrasing, but how they should stand strong in the Lord. And we serve the same God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he was just mighty in it because he understood, I don't care what we're being tempted with right here. We are real. What we're living in is the truth of the Lord, and we will endure. It don't matter how much it looks like we're going to be unalive or how we not going to get through this. I guarantee you, if we stay strong in the Lord, stay valiant in the Lord, we're going to get through this. And guess what? They did. So even though he didn't have a 1 Corinthians 10 and 13, up until this point, Judah Maccabees lived in the spirit of 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. You understand? Let's keep reading. Salakia. Okay, verse 4. 1 Maccabees 8, verse 4. And that by their policy and patience, they had conquered all the place, though it were very far from them, and the kings also that came against them from the uttermost parts of the earth, till they had discomfited them and given them a great overthrow, so that the rest did give them tribute every year. This should have been a sign. This should have been a sign right there. You understand? This should have been all they needed to know that we're going to have to treat them like these Grecians, like the Greeks. You know, they might be cool up front. That'll just give us time to prepare, because we're going to have to go to war with them too. That should have been our spirit the whole time. You understand? Verse 5, besides this, how they had discomfited in battle Philip and Perseus, king of the Cittims, with others that lifted up themselves against them and had overcome them. See, it's the same lingo that we read earlier in First Maccabees 2 and 3, and how they were going to battle with the Greeks. It's the same lingo, same thing. How also Antiochus, the great king of Asia, that came against them in battle, having 120 elephants with horsemen and chariots and very great army, was discomfited by them. So they're hearing about how they defeated everybody in war. And of course, they're looking at their situation like, man, they defeated them. Man. They had 100 elephants and armies and chariots and everything. They defeated them. It ain't no way we can fight against them, man. We older now. We done lost so many brothers. Maybe we could just make a league, a covenant with them, and we'll be okay. But Judas should have known that was not the answer. Let's go find out why Judas should have known that. Let's go back to First Maccabees, right? First Maccabees chapter 1. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. So it says they forsook the holy covenant and they joined themselves to the heathen. Don't you understand that? That's where we go wrong. The first thing we want to do is join to the heathen. We want to go with the agenda of the heathen. What is the heathen doing? For us, the heathen would be America. At this point, the heathen was the Greeks. Where we're reading that today, the heathen was the Romans. Today, for us, the heathen is America. We want to go with what America's doing. That's how we make ourselves unholy. You understand? That's how we forsake the holy covenant. That's how we become uncircumcised. Why? Because we want to do the mischief of this country, meaning we want to do the religion. We want to be Christians. We want to be atheists. We want to be, you understand? What else? We want to keep Christmas. We want to keep birthdays. We want to do everything but what the Lord says. You understand? And that's the mischief that it's talking about. No one told you to serve your birthday. No one told you to do Christmas. No one told you to do New Year's, Valentine's Day. You understand? Easter. You don't find where the Lord commanded us to do that. The Lord literally has a chapter in the law dedicated to all the holy days we should be keeping. And yet, how many of us keep that? We don't keep none of those, do we? But for some reason, we keep every holiday that America says keep. That's the mischief that it's talking about. We serve America. We don't serve God. That's the sign that you serve America, not God. You forsaken the holy covenant. Let's keep going. So now let's skip down First Maccabees 1 and 41. First Maccabees 1 and 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. See? Remember, every time you read in the Bible, all people trying to be one people, it's never God bringing all people to be one people. It's always a heathen trying to bring all people to be one people. Remember at the Tower of Babel, who was it? The Lord. I forget the matter of fact, let me just go find out. The Lord. All right, Genesis, what is it? 9. No, the sons, right? All right, so 10. Ham, Sheth, and Gad, right? Children of Shem, right? And these are the families, right? The whole earth was on one language, right? Shem, right? Right, the city of Tower of Babel, right? Give me 1 second, y'all. One strain, Right. Feel like I'm missing it. Where is it at? And Cush begot Nimrod. That's who it was. Nimrod. Remember, the first time you hear about us trying to come together is under Nimrod, the Tower of Babel, right? That's a heathen. That's not God. That's a heathen. But what did God do? Did God say, yeah, we should all be one people? No. He destroyed the Tower of Babel. And not only did he destroy the Tower of Babel, he separated the people to go their own way. And not only that, he gave them all different languages. Like, how much more could the Lord do to show us that he doesn't want all people to be one people? He doesn't look at all people as one people. Man looks at people as one people. We're all one race, the human race. God doesn't look at it that way. He destroyed the Tower of Babel. You'll see here in the Apocrypha, the Greeks were trying to bring everybody together. You understand? Under Antiochus Epiphanes. But guess what? That wasn't a God. He was not a man of God. He was a heathen. He was an enemy to God. Antiochus Epiphanes was not serving God. He was serving himself. And what did God do? Raise up a mighty man like Judas Macabees, who said, all right, everybody going to come together, but not my bloodline, not my people. And Judas Macabees was going to war with them for years, simply because we would not join to be one people with them. You understand? Like, this is what the Lord wants. He doesn't want us all to be one people. He wants Israel to be one. He wants his people to be one. And that's the only thing that's not happening on earth right now. The Chinaman will be China with all China, and they good with that. The fake Jew will be with the fake Jews, and they good with that. The Russians will be with Russians, they good with that. Japanese will be with the Japanese, and they good with that. All the separate countries in Africa that can't stand each other will be one with they separate country, and they good with that. It's only one people on earth who cannot be one with their people. That seem like they got to bring everybody involved. And that's us. That's simply because we follow the mischief of the heathen. The heathen taught us that. And when they taught us that, they weren't teaching us that for our benefit. They were teaching us to be one with them because they knew if we were one with them, we would serve them. Think about it. Ever since we've been one with America, we've done nothing but being second-class citizens. We don't have rulership anywhere. We don't have a government for us. We don't have a military for us. We got to join theirs and go with their agenda. It got to the point, Muhammad Ali ain't never been in a truth a day in his life, but he knew one thing. He said, listen, I'm not going to that war. Muhammad Ali understood one thing. Look, my beef ain't with the Viet Congs or Vietnam or whoever. My beef is right here on the corner with y'all. Y'all the problem, not them. They ain't never did nothing to me. It's y'all that's doing stuff to me and my people. And the fact that he understood that much, guess what? When he tried to take that stand, they stripped that brother of his belt, took away a lot of his prime years in boxing, and tried to throw him in jail, man. That's what happens when you succumb to the beast. You try to be one with these people, and then you try to break away and stand like you should. That's what happened. The Lord has never brought all people together. That has always been a thing of man. You will never see in the Bible where the Lord says, and all people shall be one. It makes, right? I mean, you would think you would, as much as it makes sense to us, you would think it would be somewhere clearly in the Bible. But the only thing I clearly see in the Bible is Nimrod, Tower of Babel, wanted to be one, like we try today. God destroyed it. The Greeks wanted to be one under Antiochus Epiphanes. God brung Judas Macabees, who had the spirit and the might of the Lord. The Romans, they wanted to be one. Eventually, Christ came on the scene and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Every time somebody's trying to be one, the Lord sends a mighty man. And today, those mighty men you can find right here in the ISUPK. That's why a lot of people don't like what we say, because we're not trying to be one. We don't look at everybody as one. We look at everybody as they are. Asian, that's their own nation. A Chinaman is his own China. It's his own nation. That's his right. Russian is a Russian. You understand? And we are Israel. We are who we are. And we should be one with each other, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. There's nothing harder on earth right now than to get Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to actually care about each other, to actually love each other. There's nothing harder on earth. That's the hardest job on earth right now. You understand? So let's keep reading. Where we at? So let's go back to 1 Maccabees 1, and we're going to go to 40, where I said 41. Yeah. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Meaning whatever your culture was, whatever your standard is, your standard of living, we're going to leave that. And now we're going to do it according to what Antiochus Epiphanes want. Let's keep reading. Yeah. Many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. That's the beginning of your, listen, you don't even realize that's the beginning of your Christianity today. Because you profane the Sabbath, you don't care about nothing as far as keeping the Sabbath. You're gonna work your slavery on the Sabbath, whether you got to or not. The only day you try to keep holy is a Sunday, and that ain't the Sabbath. You understand? We don't care about the Sabbath. This was the beginning of it. You understand? This was the beginning of the lie. And then not only that, when it says we consented to his religion and sacrifice unto idols, that means we were worshiping something other than the Most High God. We got caught worshiping something other than the Most High God. And again, that's where we failed at. That's where we fall short at today. We worship in Christianity and in the Muslim faith, in the Buddhist faith, in the atheist faith, in a satanic faith, whatever faith it is. But guess what? We don't worship in the faith of the Most High God and in our culture. You understand? This is why King Antiochus wanted all to leave their culture or their let me get the word right. Leave their laws. Because what you got to understand is the laws that a nation or people are set up under is going to always bring them back to what matters in their culture, to what matters in their nation. So that's why the first thing he wanted was leave your laws, come serve under my laws. Because now you're going to do what matters in my nation, in my culture. Let's keep reading. 43. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. 44. For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem in the city of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land. That they should follow the strange laws of the land. See? And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days. See? That's what we do today. Again, I ask the question, when's the last time you kept any festival or feast day that's in Leviticus 23? That's just a question. When's the last time you kept any feast day in Leviticus 23? But I'm sure you just kept Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, couple months. What you gonna keep? What, Valentine's Day? Because you forsook the laws of your people, and now you go according to the laws of the heathen. This is how it happens. Let's keep reading. 46, and pollute the sanctuary and the holy people. That also lets you know, it's going to go over a lot of people's head, but this is also letting you know who the holy people are. The holy people are only the Israelites. Those are the holy people. There's never been any other holy people on earth. Till this day, there are no other holy people on earth. The Israelites are the holy people. It's very simple. 47, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. 49, listen to this, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. I'm going to ask you today, do you keep the laws of God? When's the last time you kept a feast day? Did you even know the feast days were in Leviticus 23? Do you know how to keep these feast days? If the answer is no to any of these questions, Antiochus Epiphanes, his decree is still holding power over our people today, because it just continued from one kingdom to another. This was the blueprint on how to get an Israelite to not serve the Most High. Make him forget his laws. Why? Because his laws will remind him of his culture, of his people, of his God. So make him forget that. Now, not only do we make him forget that, he has to come keep these laws, because we have to integrate, we have to ingrain this abominable way in him. It's not just going to happen overnight. We have to make them become this. It's just like with anything. You don't become a person that has a Steph Curry shot overnight. He has to do that thousands upon thousands upon thousands the exact same way every time before he can become a Steph Curry. Then and only then do you get Steph Curry. Well, that's what they did here. Not only am I not going to allow you to keep your laws, I'm going to make sure you keep Christmas every year. I'm going to make sure you keep your birthday every year. I'm going to make sure you go to that Christian church every Sunday. Matter of fact, let's go to a Monday service and a Wednesday service. And you're going to do this week in, week out, day in, day out. You're going to vote for us. You're going to become a part of our culture, and that's going to make you forsake yours. And that's what has happened to us here in America. So this was the sign of why, when we get to 1 Macabees 8, Judas should have known that following the Romans was not the way to go. But again, the brother had been going to war for 20, 30 years by now. The brother, he was tired. I understand the spirit. But he has to remember, and this is something that we have to remember, that maybe he didn't remember. We must endure to the end. We cannot follow any heathens to salvation. There is no better way out following a people that has either enslaved us, hated us, or just had us in bondage. There is no way out. So let's keep reading. Verse 7, and how they took him alive and covenanted that he and such as reigned after him should pay great tribute and give hostages in that which was agreed upon in the country of India and Media and Lydia, and of the goodliest countries which they took of him and gave to the king Eumenes. Moreover, how the Grecians had determined to come and destroy them. See? And that they, having knowledge thereof, sent against them a certain captain, and fighting with them slew many of them, and carried away captives their wives and their children, and spoiled them, and took possession of their lands, and pulled down the strongholds, and brought them to be their servants unto this day. All this should have told this brother, we can't join to them. This is what they do. They try, they're strong-arming people. We got to prepare for war. This should have, you know what this is? This right here was the sign the Lord was trying to give him to say, hey, it's time to get ready for war again. You ready to battle? It's time to go to war again. That's what the Lord was trying to say. He took it as, well, you know, maybe we can make league with them, man. You know, maybe this time we ain't got to bang it out, man. It's unfortunate. Let's keep reading. Verse 11, it was told him besides how they destroyed and brought under their dominion all other kingdoms and isles that at any time resisted them. But was that not any different than what the what the Greeks did? So if the Greeks did that, well, why would it be different with the Romans? It's not. But again, this is why Christ said you got to endure to the end. Because this was just another test, another battle. And this is what we got to understand in. It's okay to die in battle. When you're battling for what's righteous, it's okay to die in battle. Now, of course, I'm talking spiritually. But if you have to die physically, that's okay too. It's okay to die for something righteous. Just don't die because somebody stepped on your J's. Just don't die because you got a little drunk on New Year's and now you want to fight everybody. Just don't die because you caught somebody sleeping with your man, or you caught somebody sleeping with your girl. Don't die for them reasons. Die for something righteous. If you have to, it's okay to die for that. Let's keep going. So verse 12, but with their friends and such as relied upon them, they kept amity, in that they had conquered kingdoms both far and nigh, and so much as all that heard of their name were afraid of them. Also that whom they would help to a kingdom, those reign, and whom again they displace. Finally, that they were greatly exalted. Is that not the same spirit of today? If you become one with America and love the American way and fight for it, this, that, and the third, I promise you will be a black man or woman that they will let you speak for the black people. You will be the voice of the black people. If they see you are one with America, they know I can let you be the voice for the black people, because whether you realize it or not, you ain't gonna do nothing but say everything I want you to say. I know you think you're saying it, but you're one with us. Basically, what it is they will only let the conquered mindset be the voice for our people. They will never let me get up there. I guarantee you that. They will never let Commander General Yohana, Captain Tazarian get up there. They won't let that happen. But they will let Jay-Z, LeBron James, whoever else. You see, even Kanye West tried to say something a little. Anytime a brother try to say something a little slight, they got to go apologize and get on their knees to the ish man. That's how you know they're not going to let an unconquered mind get up there. They will only let a conquered mind speak for our people, which should tell you we in captivity anyway. Let's keep going. Again, any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the chat. All right. Verse 14. Yet for all this, none of them wore a crown or was clothed in purple to be magnified thereby. Moreover, how they had made for themselves a senate house. Sound familiar? Wherein 320 men sat in council daily, consulting always for the people, to the end that they might be well ordered, and that they committed their government to one man every year, who ruled over all their country, and that all were obedient to that one, and that there was neither envy nor emulation among them. This is why I say this was the beginning of what we live today. That's literally how the American government is set up. You got the House, you got the Senate, you got one man, the president, that everybody adheres to. This is literally where the America gets their government system from, because they are these people. I don't know if y'all seen that. I mean, with us being on social media, I'm sure some of y'all might have that little TikTok trend or whatever that was going around maybe a year or two ago, where they were going around asking random people, mostly white people, how often do you think of Rome? And to a lot of people's shocking surprise, a lot of them said, man, I was just thinking about that last week. Or, man, I was just thinking about that earlier today. And then they would just go into their spiel about Rome. Do you understand? They're doing that because that's really their ancestors. That's who they are. You understand? Of course they think about that. Because this is the continuation of Rome. This is the continuation of Rome. That's why so many white people had Rome on their mind. They didn't even know that. They just know Rome was on their mind. Let's keep reading. Verse 17, in consideration of these things, Judas chose Epilumus, the son of John, the son of Achas, and Jason, the son of Eleazar, and sent them to Rome to make a league of amity and confederacy with them, and to entreat them that they would take the yoke from them. For they saw that the kingdom of the Grecians did oppress Israel with servitude. And in seeing that, he should have also seen that the Romans wanted to do the same thing. Meaning, whether we made a league of amity with them or we fought against them, they were going to enslave us either way it goes. So we might as well fight to the death on this one. You said all them kingdoms balled up as one. You're right. As a matter of fact, that's a good point. That, again, I did this earlier, but he could have went to the book of Psalms 83, and it tells us this, right? Psalms 83:1, I'll read down. Keep not thy silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. That's the same spirit that Rome came with that Greek came with. It hadn't, that spirit is still here in the earth today. It's the same spirit America is in. Why do you think a black and brown people have been everything from a spick, a nigga, colored, Afro-American, African-American, everything? We've been called everything on earth outside of the children of God, outside of Israelites. Because this is the same spirit that they still have today in America. Let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. Listen to this. They are confederate against thee. And it's amazing that the first nation it names is the tabernacles of Edom. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites. Do you understand what the tabernacles means? Like the rulership of that people. The rulership of Edom, the rulership of the Ishmaelites, they are confederate. Now, it's a lot more nations. Pretty much every nation on earth is confederate against us. But it's amazing that the Lord started off with the tabernacles of the rulership of Edom and the rulership of the Ishmaelites. Because till this day, the greatest slave trade was perpetrated by Edom and Ishmael. The sub-Saharan slave trade and the transatlantic slave trade, which our people went through by the millions, are to this day the biggest slave trades known to man. And it all had to do with taking away who we are, taking away our power, our culture, our God, and stripping us from everything. Because it's the same spirit, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And for most people, it's not. Let's keep reading. First Macabees. First Maccabees, verse 19. They went therefore to Rome, which was a very great journey, and came into the Senate, where they spake and said, Judas Maccabees with his brethren, and the people of the Jews have sent us unto you to make a confederacy and peace with you, and that we might be registered your confederates and friends. So that matter pleased the Romans well. And this is the copy of the epistle or letter which the Senate wrote back again in tables of brass and sent to Jerusalem, that they might have by them a memorial of peace and confederacy. It reads, verse 23. Good success be to the Romans and to the people of the Jews by sea and by land forever. So remember, this was supposed to last forever. Now we know when Christ got on the scene, about the time when Christ was born, they were trying to unalive every male-born child. So obviously, they broke this covenant just like they break every other covenant. That's who Edom is, just a big fat liar. Edom will break every covenant, every peace treaty that known to man for the sake of greed and power, because that's who they are. The Lord is trying to tell us this from the beginning. That's who they are, but we don't want to listen. By swore also an enemy, but be far from them. If there come first, so I can. 23. Good success be to the Romans, to the people of the Jews by sea and by land forever, and the sword also an enemy be far from them. 24. If there come first any war upon the Romans or any of their confederates throughout all their dominion, the people of the Jews shall help them as the time shall be appointed with all their heart. Meaning we have to be 100% invested in whatever war they're in. Again, remember I told you this is the beginning of the American way, because today we just are already naturally integrated into America, so we just naturally think about joining their military force. You understand? We don't need a league of confederacy. We are born into a league of confederacy in America because it's the only way we know. That's how far we've gone down this rabbit hole. We should not be a part of their military. We shouldn't be fighting their wars. That's a sign that we are on the wrong side. We shouldn't be a part of their law enforcement. We should be serving the Lord. We should be setting up our own law enforcement. We should be setting up our own military. And these things we do here in the Isupk. But it takes brothers that's going to stand for the Lord and stand for brotherhood and stand for his people. It takes sisters that's going to be true to what the Lord called them to be and not what America called you to be. It takes a nation. But until then, we're going to be confederate with America. Mm. 26. Neither shall they give anything unto them that make war upon them, or aid them with victuals, weapons, money, or ships, as it has seemed good unto the Romans. But they shall keep their covenants without taking anything therefore. Meaning we should not help out any other nation of people that wants to come against them. If they do, we should tell the Romans and tuck tail and run and do whatever the Romans say. That's essentially what is going on right now. 27. In the same manner also, if war come first upon the nation of the Jews, the Romans shall help them with all their heart, according as the time shall be appointed them. You know what's funny about this? What if the war is brought to the Jews by the Romans? Are they going to help us with all their heart to fight against themselves? Of course not. Of course not. This is why America hates seeing us Israelites, the Isupk, because we go against this wicked beast. And as much as they want to say they're proud of America, this, that, and the third, when they see people like us standing up, they're not going to help us in our fight, nor do we want them to. We just want them to stay out our way. As long as you stay out our way, we good. That's all we need you to do. We don't need to make a league with America. We don't need to make a truce with America. We just need you to stay out our way, and you can keep doing whatever it is America wants to do. Because we're going to do what the Lord calls us to do. And ain't nothing stopping that. I can tell you that right now. Verse 28, neither shall victuals be given to them that take part against them, or weapons, or money, or ships, as it hath seemed good to the Romans, but they shall keep their covenants in that without deceit. According to these articles did the Romans make a covenant with the people of the Jews. 30, howbeit, if hereafter the one party or the other shall think to meet to add or diminish anything, they may do it at their pleasures, and whatsoever they shall add or take away shall be ratified. Meaning, according to this, both the Jews and the Romans had rights to add to this agreement or take from this agreement. I can tell you what the Romans added to this agreement. Forsake the agreement. Scratch the agreement. That was what they added to it. That's what they ratified to it. F the agreement. We're going to unalive their firstborn child, firstborn male child. You understand? They gonna have to. We're gonna tax them. We're gonna make them essentially have to serve under us, just like every other country or nation has to serve under us. That's what ended up happening. The proof is during the time of Christ. Verse 31, and as touching the evils that Demetrius doeth to the Jews, we have written unto him, and saying, wherefore thou made thy yoke heavy upon our friends and confederates, thy Jews. If therefore they complain any more against thee, we will do them justice and fight with thee by sea and by land. You know what? That verse reminds me of something. Salakia. Let me read this to y'all. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 7. Listen to this. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. See, when you're in the wisdom of God, everything that was laid out right there was oppression, because I'm obeying the guidelines of another nation of people. I should be obeying the guidelines of the Most High God and whatever man he set up for us of my brethren. But the fact that I have to obey these guidelines, that should make me mad. But unfortunately for our brother Judas Macabees, it did not make him mad, because, of course, he had been battling all his life. You understand? He had been battling all his life. It says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. That gift that basically they gave them protection from Demetrius, that destroyed their heart. I mean, it destroyed their mind. How did it destroy it? It made them think the Romans really cared about us. It made our forefathers think the Romans really cared about us. We really think America cares about us. Why? Because they let us vote. They gave us a gift of voting. Why? Because they let us work. They let us work some jobs. Why? Because we can go to their schools. We can go to their stores. We can live amongst them in their neighborhoods. That gift has destroyed the mind. That gift has destroyed our hearts, just like it did for Judas Maccabees. And that's what we got to overcome today, man. This is why in Isupk we do this work daily. You know, a lot of people may not want to hear it. A lot of people may not even adhere to it. But we're going to do this work until we die or Christ returns. Them are the only options. You understand? So with that, I'm Priest and Officer Yahweh Thumb. Of course, we're going to be getting into it next week. We're going to be diving a lot more into it. It's going to break it down even more. It's coming even heavier next week. We're at ISUPK at 1 West 125th Street out of Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. Of course, we teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to the Bible, history, archaeology, and anything else you may need for your understanding. With that, I say shalom. Peace, Israel.